So you started recording? Yeah, okay. So I will call this regular meeting of the Public Site and Building Commission to order at 7:02, Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. We'll start with the pledge. Will you join me? The pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, Dave Olson's back, so hopefully he can hear us. And that, oh, Dave Horvath's here too. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so our first agenda item would be public input. Going once, going twice.
So,
No public input. And correspondence, I don't have anything and you don't have anything that came in. You don't have anything that anybody gave you, okay? So just to get, before we start on our old business, we have to do the meeting minutes. So approval of meeting minutes from the regular meeting of August 28th. So I will make a motion that we approve those meeting minutes from the regular meeting of August 28th, 2024.
second.
We got seconds. Any input, changes, updates? I don't know, because you weren't here. I think they were fine. So let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And he has to abstain because he wasn't here. But you won't have to anymore. So I am going to, before we get in, so we've got that passed. I'm going to, before we start on our whole business, just do who's on the screen, who's here in the room, because we got some new folks. And I'll start here in the room. So Kathy Galvis, our recording secretary, John Perna, public site, John Menti, public site, Nancy Ryan, chair, public site, and our newest member, Dave Resendez, who's just joining us. And we're glad to have him here. Welcome, welcome. And Dan Carter for selectman is here also. I think you can see us all. There's no one sitting back there. So up on the screen, we have Jen Burial, Dr. Christine Carver, and Tyler. Is Tyler still? He's there somewhere. Tyler's there. All from
He's there.
Yeah, all from Board of Ed / schools for both the HVAC and the school renovation projects. And then we have our owners rep folks from STV. We have Mark Dupre and Michael Dwayne and Geraldine Baruff, who are part of 3 different projects, each one a different part of a different project, but we'll get into that once we get into the different projects. And then also from public site up on the screen, we have Roy Steiner, Dave Horvath, and David Olson. Did I get everybody? If you X that thing over there, then we got we still have those people. Who are they? So that's Michael and Tyler and Mark. Okay, good. So you're all muted because we're finding that the sound gets a little wonky when anybody it seems to work fine if one person is speaking. And if a couple of people jump in and turn their microphones on, the sound gets crazy. So if the sound, and it's often not crazy for us here in the room, it's for you on the screen. So if your sound gets a little crazy, let us know and we'll see what we can do about that. So let's get into our old business, the police station training range. I will give a brief update. I have not yet heard anything from the building department on the CO. Last I was told, we have the temporary CO in place, everything's working fine, etc. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be issued the CO. There's just paperwork happening. And I will continue to check on that. And then Dave Horvath, I don't know if you have an update for us. We talked about seeing what we could do about getting that makeup air unit to operate to set points, heating and cooling automatically rather than having someone have to run in there and turn it on.
Yeah, so I've talked to
Aon rep, and I talked to another gentleman by the name of John Tecchio, who is a guru with this stuff. I've actually known John for about 24 years. Kind of ironic, small world. But anyways, he needs some more information, and I have not been to the range, so I don't know. I need to get there and see if there's actually a thermostat on the wall of some kind, or what is controlling the unit itself, because if there is some kind of a thermostat, then there should be able to be a nice sit back with no problem. So I just need to get the whatever's on the wall controlling it. I need to get the make and model number and stuff off of it and how it's, wired, and get that over to him to confirm what we want to do. But it doesn't sound like it's a big deal. So I don't know if somebody can enlighten me on that.
I don't know, Mark Dupre, if you know anything about that. I mean, you weren't as involved as Evan.
No. I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, I'd be happy to have myself or Mike meet him there for you, Dave, and just or run down there and get that information for you. We can do that. But
Well, I'd like to see it firsthand as well. So maybe we can meet there one day.
yeah, that'd be great. We can do that.
So hopefully you guys can figure that out
Mhm.
at some point.
I want to try and get it figured out, obviously, before the cold weather really sets in. So if
Yeah.
I can get down there, who do we have to get a hold of? Libertini to get the access? Give him a heads up.
I think if you email somebody, Libertini or Chief Pugner, to let them know you're going to come on a certain day at a certain time, and then when you get there, check in at dispatch, and they will get you into. I don't think they just leave it open.
Yeah, right.
Like it was.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. So if you do that, and then hopefully next meeting you can let us know, because I'm concerned too as the cold weather is starting to set in. We
Mhm.
want to have, because I don't even think that whole system of somebody gets an alarm and then somebody goes and turns it on is even up and running either. So
That was going to be my next question. Was that, I know we didn't commission really down, well, we did commission to an extent, and maybe John Pern knows better than I, but do we know if that system actually does alarm out?
Have to check with CES. They did the commissioning.
Okay, I'll
They did the commissioning on the original building and they did the commissioning on the range.
and they're actually
Okay.
still in the process of commissioning. They're still doing the seasonal commissioning, so we can check with them, and I can give you their contact info of the person that was out there the most.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, okay. Good. Okay, so hopefully we can have something by the next meeting. We want to make sure that if that whole alarm thing is supposed to be in place, that it is and it's working until we get some sort of resolve to making it run on its own. And the set points can be something realistic, so it's not running all the time.
I could be wrong, but I believe it is running, but I would like to just verify that as well. I haven't been to the site. So,
Well, Dave can be in touch with Mark, and
Yep.
whoever else wants to be going out there to check it out. That would be great.
Mark, why don't I try and, do you have a few minutes tomorrow? Maybe we can get together on the phone and just chat?
yes.
Okay. Why don't you have my number?
No, I don't, Dave, but you've got my email, right? Why don't you send me your number and email and
Okay,
I'll give you a call.
sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so the budget, I had asked finance for a new spreadsheet on expenses to date, and received it today and didn't have time to really check into it, but it looks like it's pretty much close to what I'm remembering. We might have $4,000 left in the budget. We have CES outstanding, and I don't know as they will bill us until they finish their whole season. So I think we owe them $3,000. Their last bill brought it up to so that they owe us we owe them $3,000. I haven't gotten an invoice from ESC, which I have to check into to see what they might be waiting on. And because the amount that we paid ESC is almost the contract amount, and then we had the change order. So those two,
Nancy, if I could just interject, I think they're waiting for further direction from us as to how we want that unit rewired.
Okay.
My discussions with them, they were waiting for direction. So that may be why.
okay, that's good to know. And then the largest outstanding invoice we have is Action Target, which if we don't have anything else with the range, we can do invoices and we'll look at that Action Target invoice. So does anybody have anything else on the range that needs to be looked at, brought up, et cetera? Like I said, I'll continue to check in about the CO that might even be in place, but I haven't had notification of that. So
So
I'll keep.
Action Target, you're gonna pay them in full, or you keep it or retainage back?
So they have asked for their final payment, which I was gonna kind of go over now.
So we just have to be careful because Action Target bought the unit themselves,
Yes,
and then the rep in Connecticut started it up.
right.
So if you have a problem with that,
Mhm.
that gets a little messy. That where are they?
Yeah.
I don't know where they are, but
Right.
they bought it from the rep out west.
Mhm.
So if you have something go wrong with it,
Mhm.
you can't, you know, you're gonna go to Connecticut rep to get it done, but
Mhm, mhm.
I don't think they're gonna cover it. It would have to be processed through the rep they bought it off of.
Mhm, mhm. So what?
Warranty paperwork.
Yeah. So are you thinking we need to, do we have warranty paperwork? That's a good question. So that might be something we need to check into. Because a lot of the stuff was turned over and it was electronic, turned over to the police department. So I'm thinking maybe we should check into that before.
Well, yeah,
I will ask Evan to chase all that down, Nancy, and have that ready or have an answer for everyone at the next meeting, if not sooner.
Okay,
so we get a 1-year labor warranty,
right.
and then we bought an extended warranty on parts, but no labor.
No, we didn't buy that.
We didn't get the parts.
We
I thought
didn't.
we did.
We didn't approve that because we
Oh,
were watching the
okay.
budget.
I thought we got 5 years on the parts, but not labor.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I don't think we ever approved that. Because if I put, trying to figure out how to make this thing,
So they should submit closeout docs, which have all
Yeah.
the warranties, have all the O&Ms. It should be an
yes,
Right.
electronic
Yes.
PDF. I suspect the spec called out for hard copies also so that the staff can have that on site. So there should be a transmittal or something. We'll check with Evan to see if that stuff was submitted. If it was submitted, we'll cross-reference with the specs and the drawings and what we bought in general, per the contract, and then we'll get back to you guys as soon as possible.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mikey.
because the application for payment that Action Target gave us and sent around, and I can share it, but it's sideways and I'm trying to figure out how to make it. I turned it and then it didn't turn the rest of the way. Let me see if I can share this.
I think the biggest thing before we pay these guys is to know exactly what we bought per contract and then make sure all punch list items are closed out. Make
Yes.
sure all the equipment that was purchased or installed by the vendor was installed correctly. And then, that's a final, then you guys can decide. I think you need all the information though to be clear before you start
Right.
approving any invoices.
So this application for payment shows all the payments that they've received so far and also lists the change orders. And the 2 change orders that we approved, the one for the HVAC programming, making the MAU run all the time that we needed to do that. And then there was a credit for, they kind of messed with the sprinkler system after it had been tested. And so we had to pay to have it tested again. And so they gave us a credit for that. They've also included a change order for additional offload of materials. That we never approved. They never brought it to us. And they never talked to us about it. They didn't say that why they did it or what needed to be done. But those are the only 3 change orders they show. So they don't show the, we did look at discussed it, and then we decided to wait on it until we saw where the budget was going.
So we gave them a change order for the unit to run all the time, so
Yes.
that we didn't have to put a second unit in there.
Yes,
But we can't get it to run all the time.
it can run all the time. It's not the unit itself, but the programming, which they didn't do, the programming. Right? Is that what I'm,
No, I don't think so.
well,
Their unit comes, their keypad comes programmed to control the stuff.
Mhm.
ESC was just what we call start, stop, status. Just the way-
say that again?
Start, stop, and status.
Okay,
So I thought everything came in their, they have keypads,
great.
and when they go in the range, if it's one guy, he presses a button and says, I want to use that lane,
Yes,
it turns on
the whole thing. Yeah,
MAU.
yes.
So that's all Action Targets package.
Yes,
Software package.
yes,
So they are controlling it.
yes. But I think they're not controlling the hot, cold set
Right.
point.
There's no night setback or anything like that. It's just, and that's
So-
something. And John, I need to find out how is the temperature? Is it control off a return air or supply air, or is there an actual thermostat on the wall or sensor?
So there was a sensor because I was out there and
Okay,
they do the startup, and he said the sensor that's in the unit needs to get mounted in the space. Do you have a spare set of wires?
okay,
That's when Randy's guy came out to do the factory startup.
okay.
Okay, so we're looking into mostly the warranty documents. Who has them? What do they say? Who do we contact if we have an issue, et cetera? We want to make sure we have that in place. But I know there was a discussion back in May or June about turning stuff over. Downs turned over their part, but this wasn't part of theirs. And so Action Target turned over theirs also. And I believe it was all because you had been asking for several binders, and I believe it was Libertini who said, we got it all electronic, we're good. We've got, I think there's a paper copy there too. So we've got to find out what's there and who do we contact if we have issues. So everybody knows what they need to do on that. So we're going to hold off on this invoice. I will tell Action Target's accounting department that. They won't be happy, but it's okay.
And we need to know the official startup date. So because that's when the 1 year
Uh-huh.
commences. Because there was a lot of confusion when they came out and they couldn't really start and complete the unit.
Right,
They had to come out a second time.
right. So what's the date?
Yeah, because we can't take it from the day they came out the first time because there was no gas pressure and all that crap. So
Because it sat there, it was installed and then the.
sat there for months.
Okay. And hopefully everybody can work on getting this together for the next meeting so we can take care of it. Everybody's got their assignments. Good. All right. Is there anything else on the range that we need to? Anybody else has for tonight? Nope. All right, Rockwell and Johnson Schools. Is there any update on the audit, Dr. Carver or Jen?
So Nancy, I think I copied you on the email. I submitted the updated paperwork to DAS, Department of Administrative Services, on August 30th.
Yes.
And Geraldine helped us put together what's called the 1049R, which is a revision form to account for the environmental issues at Rockwell School and the shift in the budgets. I didn't hear anything, so in anticipation of our meeting tonight, I pinged them again to ask them, did they have any questions? Were we going to get an approval? Like what's going on? Because it's been almost a month. I will say Ellison is very responsive. She got right back to me and said that the project team did have a couple of questions. So at this point, I'm going to I reached back, I responded to her email and said, I'd be happy to set up a virtual call if we need to. So at this point, it's on hold, I guess is the best way to describe it. But I will follow up, and I'm going to put a note in my calendar next week so that I don't let so much time lapse between it.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah, it's on hold, but it's not really on hold. There's a process going, but you got to find out. what
Right,
the
right,
question-
right. Right.
So once you find
Right.
the question, you have to answer it. Okay.
So
And
I think we're in good shape.
Okay. And then the only other thing we have is actually an invoice from STV for working on the audit. So I will make a motion that we approve STV invoice number 900320057 for, this is under the Rockwell contract, in the amount, this is for the month of August, in the amount of $364.
Second.
John Menti seconds. Any questions on it? I did send this around. It has the second page with where that came from. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Okay, and so that's it for the schools. And then on to our HVAC, Bethel High School HVAC project. So we, at our last meeting, which was a month ago, we did talk about bids that were received. Dr. Carver had already sent out all the proposals, then we made sure the proposals were available at the shared drive. So everybody could do a review of the proposals, and STV did a review of the proposals too. So just quickly, the three people who are going to be working with us from STV, Mark Dupre, Geraldine, and Michael Dwayne. Michael's our go-to regular everyday contact. Okay, Geraldine's going to be doing a lot of the paperwork for submittal to the state, et cetera, because she's real good at that and has done it a bazillion times. And Mark's just keeping a watch over everybody. So Michael did a review. I know he had a help from Dave Horvath, Dave Olson. I think Jen was probably in on some of those reviews. We did a little kind of a subcommittee sort of thing. And so, Michael, do you want to give us what you came up with?
Yeah. So we had three bidders or three contractors to look at. When we go through this review process, we always cross-reference the bid invite, or in this case, the RFQ and RFP. We look at all the information that's provided to the contractors. Obviously, we look at pricing, but we also look at documentation, which is imperative for the project, this being a grant project. Looking at the third bidder, which is Allstate Construction, their base cost was obviously, way higher than, Save More and ACS Systems. So again, we still look at their package, look at your numbers.
So hang on a second, Michael. Yeah.
Yep.
So there was some talk about doing executive session before we went out and talked about all the bids publicly.
I
So
was
we're-
thinking we didn't need to.
Yeah, we probably should get guarantee where this is going to go with the bid packages. It may, basically the way it works, we can do an executive session. If I certify as a chief executive officer of the town that the public interest is outweighed by the confidentiality of the response. Before we go into numbers, I guess is what I want to caution. I should probably have a conversation in executive session. We certainly can invite everybody who's here.
Yeah, we can. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
who's here is part of this team. So,
We just have to make sure that we're not, we don't do recording, we go executive session, close the door and invite everybody in.
right.
But that's, and I can read the statement before you make your vote if you prefer to, with what we're going to do.
Just my understanding is that we have to cite some.
Yeah, that's so
We
basically,
have that, okay.
I'll just read this out just so everybody
So
understands.
how about if I make the motion
Yeah.
first to go into executive session
Or I could, I could read it why, and then you can make a motion to vote.
Okay,
At the end of the day, it's your prerogative. So-
I understand.
Yeah.
I just didn't think we were
Um,
gonna get as in-depth into numbers.
So basically, when there are disclosure responses to any request for proposals for a bid solicitation issued by a public agency, there's an exemption for the Freedom of Information Act until the contract is executed and negotiated, that we can, as long as I certify that the public interest in the disclosure is outweighed by the public interest in confidentiality, until we make a determination what we're going to do with the bids.
Okay,
So what I'll say is, in accordance with the Connecticut General Statutes, section 1-210, I do certify that the public interest in the disclosure of the responses to bid number 2024-008 is outweighed by the public interest in the confidentiality of such responses. So I would recommend that we do an executive session.
okay, so then I will make a motion that we go into executive session as per what First Selectman Dan Carter just read for the discussion on the bids received for the project
There's no public on there.
right now.
No.
So, yeah, so you would have to, Madam Chair, you'd have to invite everybody.
Second first.
So, yeah.
I'll second that. Sorry.
Yeah. So everyone else up there is on the project team, right? Roy, Tyler, yes. Okay. So I am inviting in public site members, also Jen Burial, Dr. Carver, Mark Dupre, Michael Dwayne, Tyler Stevens, and Geraldine. Oh, admit Geraldine. She must have gotten dropped off. Yeah. Okay. And Geraldine Mara from STV. Did I get everybody? Hmm? Oh, you. Kathy Galvis. Sorry. Okay. All right. So now
Hold on,
we have to vote.
pause, no, I got, oh, vote and then I'll pause.
So we're voting to go into executive session and fighting all the people I mentioned. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Done. Stop. At what time? You gotta do a time. Okay, so we're coming out of executive session. And based on all the information that we've received and information in the proposals for the contractors for the Bethel High School HVAC upgrades, I will make a motion that we choose Save More as the contractor for this project.
Second.
Dave Horvath seconds. Is there any discussion necessary at this time? All in favor? Oh, Dave Olson has something. Wait, Dave Olson.
Can we actually make that decision now, or do we have to initiate contract discussions with them?
No, we can make that choice now and then the contract, they'll send us their basic contract and it'll be reviewed, and then anything that needs to be added or discussed with them will be looked at by both STV and town attorney.
Okay,
Correct.
And the Board of Selectmen has to weigh in.
and us.
Okay, so I'm actually changing my motion that we propose to the Board of Selectmen to contract with Save More for the Bethel High School HVAC upgrades. Okay, Beth, do you still second that part?
Yes.
Okay. And any other questions, discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Done. All right. Yay, we made some progress. So somebody needs to contact, who's going to contact? So Michael, will you contact Save More?
Yeah.
And
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, so we'll have to get together. They'll have to send over their contract and it'll have to get reviewed, et cetera, et cetera. I think the next step is quickly to put together an RFP for commissioning. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely, that's something we should pay close attention to.
yes,
We've had commissionings go sideways in the past.
yeah.
And
So yeah, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, we really need to, I've been lax on following up with stuff, but on, these projects coming up, I'd really like to be part of the commissionings, or at least be there to watch them, because we've had some bad things happen in the past that just snuck by.
Okay, so we'll get that going, and I believe, so how do we want to get going on looking at the budget, the alternates, et cetera? Do we want to have a subcommittee look at everything and put something together to bring to our next meeting? Do we want to hash it out at our next meeting?
Well, you probably won't have the commissioning agent prices back by your next meeting.
No, but we do have a kind of placeholder in the budget for that. And if you want to give it a quick look and see if it's still a viable number, at least we can work with that. We don't have to, we can discuss it. We don't have to make those alternate choices, but I think all of the things that people have brought up, like abatement, et cetera, we want to start getting that in line too, to make sure that we don't fall behind and getting, we have to order equipment, all that. I know we're not going to have that. At least we can look at a budget at the next meeting and make have a discussion, make some assumptions, but not have to lock it in.
Yeah. Well, STV, obviously we'll try to review what numbers you guys have and, make sure that they're as viable as possible. And then I think, on your guys' end, and I'll talk to Geraldine and Jen about this, the dollars that are allocated for the project, make sure that everything's covered, line item per line item, so that there's no surprises. And then look at that dollar amount that's left over after base and all that stuff's been verified. And then here's our guesstimation of what we have left in the budget. And then here's what we think commissioning might cost at this point, putting it out to bid, so on and so forth. Yep.
Okay. And so our next meeting is October 9th.
Guys,
I don't have any invoices. So as we have anything else for, we already did that.
I mean, nothing else.
Nothing else for the high school, I don't think. That's what I'm asking, is if anybody has any other questions or anything it needs to be brought up. As I said before, Mark Dupre, Geraldine, and Michael are our team, and Michael's kind of our day-to-day go-to guy. And I think, is Jen, are you or is it Dr. Carver being the kind of point of contact for schools for the Board of Ed?
Generally speaking, it's me, unless it's a big issue, then it'd be Dr. Carver.
Okay. If it's something you don't want to deal with, we'll hand it over to her. I don't know, too. Okay. So people know who to contact if necessary. Anything else on this project? And I think for the Board of Selectmen, I don't know, once you do an approval, you don't need to put amounts or anything in, because we still have to deal with the alternates and such, right?
Right. I believe what we're doing is we're paying, approving just the contractor.
Yeah.
And then we're going to contract.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we will have to at some point document why we chose lower or other than lowest bidder.
Yes.
So that's something we have to document.
Right. And I think we may have to do that for the grant. Carolyn, do you know if we have to document why we chose, or nope, we don't? She's shaking.
No, well, I had a conversation with the audit team, and they did indicate that we have to have that kind of documentation. So I think we do need that.
Okay.
yeah, so I think obviously, we're awarding based off a base. And then the grant, they probably, with the alternates, obviously that goes to a different situation. So I'm sure with meeting minutes and other things, as long as it's documented, they just want that piece of paper indicating the why and so on and so forth, probably.
I think it's a combination of the bid number plus the response, their proposal. So I think we reference both of those. Why am I getting feedback?
And I think the first thing we really want to focus on is their proposal was incomplete. I mean, that's the first fact that really is the deciding factor as far as I'm concerned, never mind the fact that they don't have a lot of Connecticut school references. So it wouldn't be too hard to create the document that could justify why we're not taking the lowest bidder. But if I remember correctly, in the RFP, the lowest qualified bidder was the language.
Yes.
So we are, in fact, selecting the lowest qualified bidder.
Yes. I don't think we can go into great detail about
No,
ASC not giving us anything.
no, but we can just say their bid was incomplete
Yes,
and they didn't have a significant number of references for K through 12 school projects in Connecticut.
Okay.
So,
we don't need to go any further than that, I don't think. All right, anything else for this project? Everybody good? All right, so we're gonna move on to our last agenda item. So thank you, Mark, Michael, Tyler, Geraldine, Jen. Good to see you all. I know Geraldine and Mark may not be on every meeting because they don't need to be. It would mostly be Michael, but always good to see your smiling faces. So join us whenever you want.
well, thank you very much.
All right, good night.
Dave, I'll
Good,
call you
everybody.
tomorrow morning.
So our last item on the agenda is the Municipal Center locker room renovation. And last I knew, we were waiting for some contract back and forth with Architects Guild and Peter Eckert. And my conversation today with Attorney O'Brien made it sound like ball is in your court.
Well, I have to talk to Attorney Brian.
Yeah, you're having a meeting tomorrow. You'll figure that out.
Yeah, we're having a
There's-
meeting tomorrow to see where she was with.
Yes, so basically, because of the type of work that Architects Guild does frequently, their insurance isn't the same as what we would need and expect on a project with the town. So I guess we're having to figure out, do we continue or how do we deal with that? So that's what we have to find out, and hopefully we'll have more info for the next meeting. That's where we are. And I think that's it.
In that case, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Ta-da.
Done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
for being there, David Olson.
Enjoy your
All right.
vacation, David.